Welcome, folks. Today, we are discussing a study on the digital divide in Mexico, focusing on a multifaceted model of internet access and its sensitivity to socioeconomic strata and locality size.
Interesting. So, what's the main research question driving this study?
The study aims to analyze how sensitive a multifaceted model of internet access is to socioeconomic factors and the size of localities within Mexico. They're essentially looking at how different groups, based on their economic status and where they live, experience the digital divide differently.
I see. And what model are they using to analyze this?
They're using a multifaceted model of internet access, initially developed by Van Dersen and Van Dyke. This model breaks down the digital divide into 4 stages: motivation for internet access, material access, skills for access, and finally, access to use. This study focuses on the latter 3 stages as they assume motivation is already present in their sample of frequent internet users.
So, they're not looking at why people want to use the internet, but rather at the barriers they face in actually using it.
Exactly. They're examining the barriers to material access, things like having a device and reliable internet, the skills needed to use the internet effectively, and the actual usage patterns. They're then analyzing how these stages are affected by socioeconomic status and the size of the locality.
How did they gather their data?
They used data from the 2019 National Survey on Availability and Use of Information Technologies in Households in Mexico. This survey interviewed over 21,000 individuals, and the researchers selected a subsample of 2,400 frequent internet users for their analysis. This subsample was carefully chosen to ensure representation across different socioeconomic strata and locality sizes.
That's a substantial sample size. What were their key findings? Their findings confirm that internet accessibility and usage are indeed multifaceted and complex. They found significant relationships between material access, skills, and usage. For example, better material access led to better skills, which in turn led to greater usage. And how did socioeconomic status and locality size factor into this?
That's where it gets really interesting. Internet accessibility showed significant sensitivity across all socioeconomic strata and locality sizes. However, the sensitivity of skills and usage varied. Skills were significantly sensitive only in localities with fewer than 2,500 inhabitants, while usage was significantly sensitive only in localities of 2,500 to 14,999 inhabitants, and in the medium-high socioeconomic stratum.
So even in wealthier areas, there are still significant barriers to internet usage?
Precisely. The study highlights that simply providing internet access isn't enough. Developing digital skills is crucial, and this need varies depending on the context. In smaller localities, the lack of access to appropriate technology and the digital skills needed to use it effectively are major hurdles. In larger localities, while access might be better, other factors like socioeconomic status influence usage patterns.
That's a really important point. It challenges the assumption that simply providing internet access will solve the digital divide.
Absolutely. The study emphasizes the need for a more nuanced approach to bridging the digital divide. Policies should not only focus on providing internet access, but also on fostering digital literacy and addressing the specific needs of different communities. A one-size-fits-all approach won't work.
So, what are the implications for policymakers based on this research? The study suggests a 2-pronged approach. For accessibility, a focus on improving infrastructure in all areas, regardless of size, is needed. For skills and usage, a more targeted, sector-specific approach is recommended, focusing on the specific needs of different communities and socioeconomic groups. For example, providing training programs tailored to the needs of specific industries or educational levels. It sounds like a complex problem requiring a multifaceted solution, mirroring the model they used in their research.
Exactly. The study underscores the complexity of the digital divide and the need for comprehensive, context-specific solutions. It's not just about access. It's about skills, usage, and the interplay of socioeconomic factors and geographic location.
Thank you for explaining this fascinating research. It certainly gives us a lot to think about.
You're welcome. And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We hope this discussion has shed some light on the complexities of the digital divide in Mexico and the importance of targeted interventions. Until next time, goodbye.